Is it just me, or is Aaliyah still underrated as a vocalist?
If it wasn't for oh.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming back with a new video, a new topic, and this topic is going to be about Aaliyah's vocal evolution, because I feel like in a way she's still underrated as a vocalist. But before I begin, I want to send a big shout out to everybody who supported my last Aaliyah video. I'm gonna leave it up here. Like, I expected a high response, but I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. But you know what I find interesting? Out of all the Aaliyah videos I've did, I find it interesting the one that YouTube really picks up, or the one that people decide to click on the most. But nevertheless, I'm thankful for all the support I've been receiving. And it's only up from here. And talking about Aaliyah's vocals, I feel like it's such a mixed reaction with that, because you have some people that be like, oh yeah, Aaliyah was great, she could sing. Then you have those people, oh, she couldn't really sing like that. Y'all know how it is. She couldn't really sing like that. And it's just that decipher. It's like in the middle. It's always a split down the middle where people, oh, her voice was good, but it wasn't the best. Her voice was, but it wasn't. Like, people downplay her voice. People undermine her. And like I said before, I'm an Aaliyah fan, but I know, even though Aaliyah had that ability in her vocals, in her recordings, in her live performances, she didn't always show to be the, Whitney Houston type of singer, but she didn't need to be. And I'm gonna talk about it. I want to talk about Aaliyah's vocal evolution from each album, from her first to her second to her third, and to really, go over her vocal progress. And, get your opinions on it. I'm going to give my opinion on it. And, let's really celebrate Aaliyah as a vocalist, because I don't feel like she got enough props. So we begin with, the AJ Nothing But a Number era. Now, we all know this era. We all know, right? But this is the era where Aaliyah was first introduced to us, right? And you could tell that Aaliyah had a pleasant voice. She had a sweet voice. You could tell that she definitely could sing. Listen to At Your Best, the acapella version. She was 14 years old when she recorded that. Like, this is the thing with Aaliyah's voice. It was soft but powerful. And people don't realize, a lot of people don't realize, that type of singing, that falsetto singing, that high singing that Aaliyah used to do, that takes technique, that takes skill. Some people think that because you're not singing like Whitney Houston, you're not singing like Jasmine Sullivan, that you're not a vocalist. But that high singing, you know how much tension that puts on your vocal cords? And for Aaliyah to sing like that, to stay on key, and to do runs and everything, go low, go high, like that type of technique that she used, that takes a lot of skill. But people don't realize that. If you're not singing with like a, where it's like, because I get it. People like to hear singing that gives you goosebumps, that gives you the feels, that gives you the chills, that makes you get the Holy Ghost, you know what I'm saying? But there's other types of singing that's softer but still effective, and I feel like Aaliyah was a perfect example of that. So we have her first album, AJ Nothing But a Number, and this is the album where we all know who produced the whole thing. And I don't really like saying this, but it was what it was. But this is where like Aaliyah was coming into her own. She was still under the guidance of R. Kelly and everything, but it was really like in the studio, at least for the studio recordings, it was almost like a studio puppet type of energy where R. Kelly would feed her lines, tell her how to sing, tell her what to sing, tell her when to do the ad-libs, when to do the runs. And Aaliyah took that and made it her own. But it was still like he was feeding it to her, And I really want to dig into Aaliyah's live performances in each era. And the perfect example is this one right here.
Your eyes are calling me to your heart. All you gotta do is knock, and I'll let you in. Then we will feel the passion that fills within. I don't mean to be bold, gotta let you know I got a thing for you, and I can't let go. Ooh, my.
Also those performances in that first era where Aaliyah would give more energy, she would dance, and it would still be an effective performance.
Oh, yeah. you're in my clique thing. Alright.
You can hear Aaliyah's voice was soft, pleasant, it was pleasing to the ear. And, it was cool. It was what it was. And here's the thing. Aaliyah came out in 1994, right? This is the era where, you think about it. This was Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Toni Braxton, Celine Dion. These big, powerful singers, right? But then Aaliyah comes out with these smooth vocals over these New Jack Swing, heavy knocking beats. And it's something different. She's 14 when she recorded them. 15, and it's like, it was something different. And just hearing it on the radio, it was a nice segue. Even if it wasn't the most powerful, she was still right up there with Whitney, Mariah, and Celine on the charts. Her vocals didn't have to be so acrobatic and heavy hitting for it to still be effective. And that's the thing with Aaliyah that made her so different, that made her so special, that made her Aaliyah. Now, 1 in a million is when Aaliyah, she broke free from those chains, and you can really see her vocal growth. You can see this is part of her evolution, and you can hear the difference. Her vocals were more agile. She was using more low notes, and her registers was changing, and you can hear like the way that Aaliyah would dip in and out of registers. A lot of people don't really pay attention to that. A lot of people don't hear that. Timbaland's productions were so heavy hitting that sometimes it would hide Aaliyah's best vocal moments, especially her ad-libs. And speaking of ad-libs on 1 in a million, I made a whole video about that up here. If you really want to hear how great Aaliyah's ad-libs were on 1 in a million, the album is up there. Because that's the thing. Sometimes the production was so hard and heavy hitting that it would really hide Aaliyah's best vocal moments. And sometimes that even translated to her live performances, because Timbaland's beats and the way the songs were constructed and arranged, they were sometimes hard to translate into a live performance. But Aaliyah still made it work. And even when performing live, Aaliyah still tried to show her range and give a well-rounded performance.
I always had my eyes on this one particular guy. I was too shy, so I decided to write. He better, oh yeah. He better, oh my baby, oh yeah. He better get it on time. Oh yeah.
And this is when you can really see also Aaliyah was really becoming a performer. Like really giving out full dances and still staying on key, still sounding good while dancing at high energy. Like, look at this right here. What I'm saying, like, Aaliyah was giving her all. You could really tell, like, she was really molding herself, and her team and everybody, they was really molding her to becoming a performer and really showing, like, oh, I can sing and but I could also boom, 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 and still sound good doing it. Off of that, I know in the 1 in a million era, there was a lot of performances where Aaliyah was saying deeper. And I hear, if you go through the comments, a lot of people would be like, oh my gosh, she can't sing live. Oh my gosh, she sound horrible, she sound terrible. But I'm like, sometimes, to me, it sounded good. Her deeper register, her lower register, people are so used to the, try again. People were so used to that softer singing that when she sung deeper or lower, it threw people off because they was like, but it's still, it's a way of, it's better breath control when you sing in that type of voice, especially when you dancing. You did have better breath support. You have better breath control. Now look, I'm not no vocal coach. I'm not no vocal expert. This is just from my experience as an avid music listener, as an avid Aaliyah fan. Because I know sometimes these videos attract people who is like, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, they hear a note, they can hear the difference between an E flat and a G sharp just from hearing a note. So I'm like I said, I'm not no vocal expert. This is just from my perspective, you know? And y'all can give yours too. But yes, the 1 in a million era is when you really get to see Aaliyah really shine as a vocalist. You get to see her agility, her versatility, and you can see how well-rounded she was becoming as a vocalist. And you know, it was, 1 in a million, that album, I love it. I love it. You know, that was a really special time for her. You know, her, Missy, and Timbaland, they changed R&B forever with that. Then we move on to Aaliyah's soundtrack singles, specifically Journey to the Past, where you can see she was really giving a real vocal performance where it's like singing a ballad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just R&B song, pop song, hip hop with the hip hop edge. No, she was singing a ballad where it's like you listen, you can hear the vocals, you can hear the technique, you can hear the dynamics of her voice, and you can really, hear Aaliyah singing her heart out with this. Specifically, her Oscar performance.
One step at a time, one hope, then another. Who knows where this road may go? Back to who I was, on to find my future. Things my heart still needs to know. Yes, let this be a sign. Let this book be mine. Let it lead me to my past. Hurry, see me through. Heart, I'm trusting you to bring me home.
I want to put a spotlight on this performance because this is a performance where a lot of people, that's another performance where people be like, oh my God, I didn't know Aaliyah could sing like that. Because, like I said, sometimes people are so used to the softer singing or where she would do like that talk singing type of thing where Aaliyah could take it there if she wanted to. Diane Warren, who wrote The One I Give My Heart To, said she could go where the Whitneys could go. And it's even been a lot of talk about Aaliyah having a demo singing Whitney Houston back when she first started. She didn't want to be that type of Whitney Houston artist. She didn't want to be the Mariah Carey type of artist where every time she's singing a ballad, she wanted to have a nice blend, hip hop, R&B, pop, New Jack Swing. Like, she wanted to have a lot of different things. You could see as she was growing, as she was evolving as an artist, you can see how her music changed, you can see how her vocals changed, you can see how her performance changed. Back on the Oscar performance, you see how Aaliyah could hit the high notes, she could do the runs, she can really show the effectiveness of her voice. And that's just the vocal evolution I'm talking about. Now, mind you, back in the 1994 era, 1995 era, she performed this national anthem, and you could hear how her voice could take it there, how her voice could go there. But
Through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled and the home of the brave?
all these years later at the Oscars, you can really hear the power and hear how much power Aaliyah could add when she wanted to. Now we get into the Aaliyah self-titled era, where Aaliyah, she gave us a little bit of everything. And you could just see she was at her peak, her vocal peak, her artistic peak. And it was just amazing to witness. I was young at the time, but it was just, looking back on it and just seeing the evolution, it was amazing to witness. And this was an album where even Aaliyah admitted her vocal growth.
It's a bit grown up. I'm a young adult now, and I think that really comes through in this album. I've grown even vocally, and I think that's evident. You hear that.
You see, even when she performed live, like I said before, how Timbaland's productions and some of the songs he produced, they were hard to translate into a live performance. But like I said before, Aaliyah still made it work. The highs, the runs, the ad-libs, you know, the layering of her background vocals, the arrangement, everything. It was just a perfect blends, perfect sounds, and it was just amazing to hear. Like, Aaliyah's Self-Titled is one of the best R&B albums, one of the best albums of the 2000s era period. You know? Y'all know. And even in clips like this, when Aaliyah was saying a cappella, you could hear the range in her voice.
Oh, it seems that you think that I'm blind, 'cause there's always certain times when you're hard to find. You're on the go, I'm on the go, we're on the go. I can't catch you no more, I can't see you no more, and it no longer can be ignored, 'cause at once upon a time it was you I adored.
Oh, just witnessing and hearing and really looking over Aaliyah's vocal evolution, you can see how much her vocals improve, how much her vocals change, and how much more risk she was willing to take as a vocalist. And this is the thing, like I always say before in my many other videos I did about Aaliyah singing, because you know people really try to downplay her when it comes to vocals. Like I said, with being a vocalist, right? I know people want to hear that type of church singing. And another thing is, from my understanding, of course, I think maybe Aaliyah did go to church, but you think of like the Whitney Houstons and the Brandys and the Monicas, and Aaliyah, I don't think Aaliyah really grew up in a church singing in a choir like they did. That wasn't the type of background Aaliyah was coming from, to where all she knew was doing runs. And, you know, that really wasn't where Aaliyah was coming from. Aaliyah's vocals were amazing for what they were. They were amazing in general. And as she got older and she progressed in her career, you can really see she really understood her artistry. She really understood where she wanted to go, where she wanted to take her songs and her vocals and the production and everything. She really had it at her peak. She really had it all together. And it would have been so amazing to see where she would have been now, how vocally she would have been now, how artistically she would have been now, from her vocals to the music videos. That would have been amazing to see. But for what she left us, it was an amazing evolution to see. Aaliyah was really starting to understand her voice. She was really starting to understand what she wanted to do with it. She had writers, she had people that helped arrange her songs, but at the end of the day, it was still Aaliyah's vocals on those tracks. She still made those decisions and placements with her voice that was just Aaliyah, you know? And just as a bonus, I'm gonna put one of my other favorite Aaliyah clips in here too.
I'm so glad you chose me, baby, and I'll make you so happy. Choosy lover, hey, you're so choosy, baby. Boy, I'm so glad. I'm so
really wanted to do this video to give a spotlight to Aaliyah's vocals, because a lot of people really downplay them, but you really listen, especially listen to some acapella versions of Aaliyah's songs, you really hear that she was a dope vocalist. She didn't need to be the fastest singer, she didn't need to be the highest singer, she didn't need to be the loudest singer. She just had to be herself, you know, and it worked. At the end of the day, it is what it is. I know some people, they still not gonna be convinced. They still gonna be like, oh well, she wasn't. To me, Aaliyah did what she did. She did what she wanted to, and it still worked. Her vocal evolution is something that I really admire because you can see her growth. You can see her passion for it. You can just hear how much greater and greater she was becoming. Anyways, guys, that was just my take on it. I want to know, what do y'all think about Aaliyah's vocal evolution? What are y'all favorite Aaliyah vocals, from her recorded songs to her live performances? What are really y'all favorite Aaliyah vocal performances? Let me know down below. Let's get this discussion started, and let's really celebrate Aaliyah in the comments as a vocalist. Please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll see y'all in the next video.